Welcome to Adam Does Movies Live, Friday night. We're pretty much right on time. What's the timer? 10:33. Little intro. Yeah, I'm good with this. Hope everyone's having a good night. It's we're early August. We're just kind of kicking things off. Kids are going back to school soon. Parents are having a little bit of a celebratory dance. It's all good. I have a Coke. I just poured myself to get into the spirits, into the mood. Notice there's another Coke can back there. I don't really like that. Let's just get that out of the shot. Just kind of keep things clean around here. Hope everyone's well. Today, we're not going to be doing a movie feuds. That's kind of what I want to do on Fridays, but sometimes you're just a little too tired to set things up, and that's where I'm at tonight. So I'm hoping to keep it light. I have a couple news stories to go over. We'll do a Q&A at the end. Of course, super chats are always the name of the game here. As you know, YouTube doesn't pay out well, especially if you've tried your hand, if you dabbled in creation on YouTube, making videos, taking the time to edit them, watch movies, interact with people, make thumbnails, do descriptions, do titles, do keywords, try to engage, try to keep people excited. It is a full-time job. And for me, I already have a full-time job. So it's a job on top of a job on top of being a father, which is a full-time job. There's a lot of jobs going on here and none of the good ones. Let's talk about a little house cleaning first before we get started with a couple of news topics we're going to be doing today. First things first, I'm a realist. Drop this and watch my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem review. It went up just a couple hours ago. Spoiler, I really liked the film. If you saw the film, well, we'll chat about it at the end here. We'll compare notes. So yeah, that review is up. I also, if you haven't watched, I'm very proud of this one. We have the roast for Ghostbusters 2016. They have no dicks is the tagline there because that's a reference to the original Ghostbusters film. It's a quote. Bill Murray says it. It's very funny. It's a lot funnier than anything in this movie. I spend a good 25 minutes just completely dismantling this thing. If you haven't watched it, I highly encourage you check out my roast playlist. I have 6 of them on there now. Cats is a favorite of mine. Ninja Turtles 3. I'm sorry. Not Ninja Turtles 3. I need to get Ninja Turtles 3 on that roast list. Ninja Turtles, the Michael Bay produced one from 2016 is on there. Indiana Jones 4, Kingdom of the Crystal Skullfuck. Lots of goodies. And if you are really interested in having me do one of these roasts, there's a Patreon tier called Mithril. You could also do Unobtainium if you really want to go for broke. But at the Mithril level, you could sign up for 1 month, get your name on the queue, and become a producer for one of these roast videos. There's a big lineup here to choose from. You get access to this link. I mean, you can have access now. You can just go onto my Letterboxd account, Adam Does Movies. You can follow me there and just check out this beautiful list. And as a side note, I don't necessarily hate some of these movies, and a couple of them on here I really do enjoy. But there's no denying I have a lot of material out of all of these films that I can produce, and I'm excited to do that for people because I have a good time making them, writing the jokes. It's a lot of fun. Last thing I want to say, let's see what other piece do we have here. The next roast that is on my list, producer Matt Sclero picked this one. Pretty good timing because this is going to segue into the first piece of news we're going to go over. That's Gal Gadot's starring flick, Wonder Woman 1984. An abysmal film, I think, on all levels. Not many people that I know like it. I don't actually personally know anyone that likes it. There's maybe 1 or 2 somewhere, but who knows? Okay, let's get to it. The first piece of news, which I just alluded to. Why is this not sharing? Share. There we go. The first piece of news is that Gal Gadot is back, baby. Question mark? Apparently, James Gunn and Peter Safran are going forward with Wonder Woman 3. without Patty Jenkins, who directed the first two Wonder Women films. It's a hard thing to say in plural. She's not coming back for a third outing, and probably for good reason. That second movie was atrocious that she directed. And I don't think she has anyone to blame but herself. This is weird because last we heard from Gunn, everything was getting burned to the ground. Everything post Blue Beetle was going bye-bye. No more Ben Affleck. No more Batfleck. No more Henry Cavill. No more Aquaman, Jason Momoa. All going by the wayside. But now we're hearing mixed things. So he also said that Blue Beetle might continue. That character might continue on past that film. What? I personally think this is a terrible idea. And I like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I don't think she's a great actress, but I do think she has the look and she has the at least personality and charm to pull this character off. Everything else I've seen her in has been pretty terrible. But here, she works for me. All right, so let's see what they say. Gal Gadot is keeping the hope for Wonder Woman 3 alive despite a big change going on at DC Studios. In an interview with comicbook.com while promoting her upcoming Netflix action movie, Heart of Stone, never heard of it, of course, Gadot alluded to hearing from new DC bosses James Gunn and Peter Safran about developing a third Wonder Woman movie together. I love portraying Wonder Woman. This is me doing her voice. Gal Gadot said when asked about the third movie, it's so close and dear to my heart. From what I've heard from James and from Peter is that we're going to develop a Wonder Woman 3 together. Gadot originated the role of Wonder Woman. Is that proper English? Whatever. Originated the role of Wonder Woman in Zack Snyder's DC Universe, debuting in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Yeah, we know all this. This is filler for the SEO engine. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Last December, news broke that Gadot and Jenkins, Wonder Woman 3, had fallen apart after Warner Brothers leadership passed on Jenkins' treatment for the sequel. Jenkins publicly exited the project. The news hit shortly after that Gunn and Safran took the reins and announced they were overhauling the DC universe. Okay, Jenkins says, I never walked away. Listen, I never fucking walked away. I'm ad-libbing now because I feel like she would be more angry. Jenkins shared this on a post on Twitter. I was open to considering anything asked of me. It was my understanding there was nothing I could do to move anything forward at this time. DC is obviously buried in changes they are having to make, so I understand these decisions are difficult right now. Roughly an hour after Jenkins posted her statement, Gunn supported her on Twitter, replying, I can attest that all of Peter and my interactions with you were only pleasant and professional. Also, your movie sucked and we will not be using you at this time. Again, I added that, but that's what he's thinking in his head. Safran and Gunn's new DC universe is kicking off with Superman Legacy in 2025. Corin Sweat, weird last name, takes over the role following Henry Cavill, who played Superman. Yep. Gadot was asked by comicbook.com to weigh in on the new Superman casting, to which she replied, I saw that they were doing different screen tests, but I don't know who got it, but it seemed like everyone was super legit and talented and great. So I'm happy for them. It's such a huge take on, and it's such an exciting beginning for any actor, and I wish whoever it's going to be the best of luck and enjoyed the ride. Very well said. Heart of Stone streams August 11th. Wow. I certainly will be in line not to watch that. It might be good. I have no idea what it is. Thoughts? I'll give you a couple. I don't care for this idea at all. I say just start from scratch because we've established that there's these cinematic universes. Now, I'm also kind of in favor of just letting all these things do their own thing. Snyder has a fan base. It's pretty big. It's very vocal. But they seem to not even like when something's done in his universe that doesn't have Snyder's stank on it, when it doesn't have his approval. Well, I guess it can't. Snyder seems to be cool with all the stuff, but if it doesn't have his name somehow on the screen, they're not good with it. So I guess there's no really there's no pleasing them unless Snyder is returning, and he's not returning. He's got his own thing going on Netflix. I don't know. I just don't see a win for this. Wonder Woman 2 was so bad, and it put a lot of people off. And Gal Gadot since then has just kind of been randomly cameoing, and it's awkward every time when she shows up. Every time they play that terrible music, it's terrible. It doesn't even make sense when they use it, and it was overused to begin with. I don't care, I guess, is really the takeaway from this whole thing. But good luck, James Gunn. He hasn't let me down with a single film, but he's taking on a big mammoth of a project. Not only does he somehow have to curry favor with the fans of the Snyderverse, he also has to kind of swoon general audiences to come back to the theaters for these DC movies, which are bombing left and right. Some of that, sure, is going to be because audiences know that whatever's happening right now with the DCU isn't meant to be. I don't think a lot of people do, though. We're giving the general audience a lot of credit here. Some people still, including my wife, still think Flash is an MCU character. They don't give a shit enough to really pay that much attention. But you are talking about a fraction that does. And that splits off the Flash. Then you have another fraction that's like, oh, Ezra Miller is insane, and I'm not going to support him. So you take them off the list, and next thing you know, the Flash is bombing hard. And then we have Aquaman in the mix coming up. We got Blue Beetle in the mix. These movies don't look good. Well, I guess I can't say anything about Aquaman. It's we haven't seen shit on it yet, but I know that it's not testing well, and they've gone back for reshoots several times. Shazam 2 bombed. I don't know. I really don't know how you make this work. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a bloodbath. Okay, let's go to the next piece of news. Again, feel free to super chat. We can talk about this stuff afterwards when I get all the news articles done. What do we got here? What's the line? I got to look up the line before I segue into this. Give me a second. I want to really get this right. I think I got it, but actually, I think I know what it is. Okay. The next topic is, let me bring it up. God's children are for sale. See what I did there? Because in the movie, it's God's children are not for sale. I don't know why it's God's children. It's all children, I think. I don't think we have to really segregate. All children shouldn't be for sale. Sound of Freedom in the news today, but not for the positive spin they've been getting lately, which is shedding light on child trafficking and how horrible it is, in case, there was someone living under a rock that didn't already fucking know that. People are being aware, and people are going out and supporting this movie. It made a ton of money. That's perfectly fine, but we do have a problem. Sound of Freedom funder Fabian Marta arrested for child kidnapping. Not a good look, but I'm going to be honest with you. When I saw headlines and all the articles and stuff flying out, and people were tweeting at me and sharing this on my socials, I looked into it. And it's not near as devastating or horrible for Angel Studios and the people that made this movie as meets the eye. In fact, it's kind of a nothing burger. Now, this person, Fabian Marta, sounds like a real winner, real pile of shit. But the involvement this person had with the movie is very scarce. So let's read. Let's read on and learn. One of thousands of patrons of the crowd-funded anti-child trafficking film, Sound of Freedom, was recently arrested and charged for child kidnapping, according to a court filing and social media posts. Fabian Marta was charged with felony child kidnapping in July, while since removed Facebook posts appear to show the same person, revealing their pride in funding the film. Marta's name appears in the movie's credits among the investors. Have you ever heard wolf in sheep's clothing? You ever heard the term? It's appropriate here. A lot of times people will pretend something that they're not when they actually are. I know that was a very profound sentence and came out very clearly. What I'm getting at is a priest, for instance, who's practicing the word of God and being loving and being just one of the greatest creatures on the planet, is actually molesting a small altar boy. I was an altar boy back in the day. Thankfully, I came out unscathed on the other side. But what they'll do is they'll get in positions of power and they'll hide behind things that seem very obvious. Like, oh, this guy's supporting child trafficking. Clearly, he's not going to be a child trafficker himself. But that's exactly what they want you to think. And you almost got away with it too, Marta. If it weren't for those pesky crowdfunders, I don't know. I don't know how they found out. My takeaway, though, is just because there's one bad seed in the mix doesn't mean we paint everyone that funded this movie as child traffickers. That's the bullshit that they tried to do to me when I reviewed this movie and said it was pretty weak. Good message, but we don't review movies based on if the messages are good. Then we wouldn't give bad reviews out almost ever, right? Everything just gets a pass. If it's a war movie, if it's a movie about abuse, if it's a movie about, whatever, pretty much everything would get a pass. I was reviewing it based on, the visuals, the audio, the acting, the pacing, things that you kind of look for in general movies. Anyway, I was called a pedophile. I was called a trafficker. Check my computer. This guy's part of the Hollywood elite, blah, 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 blah. That's the kind of ugly crap that the internet has really brought amongst us all. It's just a great place to be sometimes. So what's happening is we always go extreme on the other side, right? Oh, they push you. Now we have an opportunity to knock them down and say, oh, it turns out the people making this movie are the sex traffickers. No, that's not even remotely it. At least not based on what I'm seeing here. For all we know, Angel Studios and all the people were actually very well intended. I have no reason to think otherwise outside of Jim Caviezel, who is kind of a crazy QAnon supporter dude, but he's just one guy. And he's also an actor, and actors are crazy already. So we're lumping all of them into the same boat, right? We're all in agreement on that. Okay, Sound of Freedom dramatizes the story of anti-child sex trafficking. Yeah. Okay, what do we got here? St. Louis Metropolitan Police confirmed to Newsweek that Marta, 51, from Chesterfield, Missouri, was charged on, I don't know why I overpronounce Missouri, this son of a bitch. I have relatives in Missouri. Good people. At least I think. Well, now Missouri has a whole different meaning for me. Unbelievable. He was charged on July 21st and was arrested on July 23rd. Police also provided a booking photo of Marta. Oh, that's nice. Which appears to show the same person pictured on Facebook. We got him. We got him. The Sound of Freedom movie tackles a very tough subject. It does. He says, I'm proud to have been a small part of it. If you see the movie, look for Fabian, Marta, and family at the very end of the credits. And he's right. Fabian, Marta, and family appears on a list of funding contributors in the film's credits around the 129 minutes and 30-second mark. Okay, that's very specific. Marta's next court date is listed in records as August 28. His bail was set at $15,000, but he was released on personal recognizance. I don't know what that word is. Following an initial appearance on July 24th. Okay. If found guilty, Marta could face 10 years to life in prison. Imagine getting 10 years. Imagine only getting 10 years for trafficking children. Yikes. Okay, well, not quite the bombshell that social media made it out to be, is it? It's this one creepy dude that had his name, in the bottom of a fucking credit screen. Great. Yeah, okay. Let's move on. So yeah, that's the scandalous Sound of Freedom nonsense. I don't think there's really anything much here, but again, I was called a lot of really horrible things by supposedly a lot of really good people on the internet, or who pretend to be good people. So it is kind of in the nature of not me, but someone like me, definitely me if I was having a really bad day, to look at an article like this or just read the headline and be like, oh yeah, well, boom, look at this. You supported the thing that you claimed you were against. No, not what's going on here. Sound of Freedom still is a great message. Sound of Freedom still tackles a very awful subject matter, and we'll leave it at that. Everything else is, everything else is whatever you make of it. All right, let's go back. Oh, DCU, the gift that keeps on giving us disappointment. Dwayne Johnson thinks Black Adam was a victim of the changes in the DCU's leadership. I got a hot take on this in a second. What are you doing? Get out of there. Stupid pop-up ads everywhere. I got ad blocker. It wants me to disable ad blocker. It's a nightmare. All right, let's get to the article that's buried in this bullshit. All right, Black Adam star Dwayne. No. There's something with Kevin Hart on his podcast. Here we go. Okay. While speaking with his friend Kevin Hart on his talk show, Heart to Heart. I like puns. Johnson answered what he thinks happened. Oh, God, there is just no quality control anymore on the internet. While speaking with his friend Kevin Hart on his talk show, Heart to Heart, Johnson answered what he thinks it happened. Come on. It's not hard. It's not. You should have someone that's proofing this shit. And believe me, I make mistakes all the time at my real job. On YouTube, I make mistakes. I don't have a proofer. I don't have an editor. I'm doing all of this. So yeah, there are mistakes for sure. I'll be the first. But at my real job, where I get paid real money and not fucking participation award money, I have someone that I answer to as a web designer and developer who will then say, hey, Adam, you made a spelling error here. You have a typo here. Let's get that fixed. Put it on the staging site. Look over it again. What I see on the internet on these websites like movieweb.com is there's no quality control, and that's disgusting. Fix your shit if you want to be taken seriously. Says the guy in his corner office in his house with a crappy webcam and a light fucking blinding me drinking a Coca-Cola Classic at 10:55 p.m. on a Friday night. Subscribe. Okay, Black Adam says, Dwayne Johnson says, not my Black Adam. I think that Black Adam got caught in a vortex of new leadership. And at this time, as we were creating Black Adam, developing it, shooting Black Adam, we got knocked down a little bit because of COVID, and the shutdown got back up. There were so many changes in leadership. And as you know, anytime you have a company, but especially that size and magnitude, that's a publicly traded company, and you have all of those changes in leadership, you have people coming who creatively, fiscally are going to make decisions that you may not agree with philosophically. So I think that Black Adam was one of those movies that got caught in the web of new leadership. That was all one sentence. That was a long sentence, Dwayne, but it was very well said. Very eloquently stated. Okay, here's the thing, Dwayne. Well, let's just read on, and then I'll tell you what's actually happening here. Black Adam managed to earn $393 million worldwide, which may seem like a lot, and it is. But the movie budget, which initially was $190 million, raised to $260 million. Oh, that's awful. It cost $260 to make because of the reshoots. And even when it made more than that, it is not considered a financial success. Yeah. $260 million budget. The movie has to make 62 carry the 520. That double that is what, 520? And then you have to do like another half off of that. So really it needed to make like 700, around 700 to be profitable, because as I've stated many times, but people still get confused, the marketing budget is not part of that 260 million. That 260 million does not include marketing. Marketing is a massive amount. Tens of millions, 50 million, 60 million, 100 million. They're spending a lot on fucking marketing. Also, the profit that the theater makes, the 393 million, they don't get all that profit. Theaters have to make money, even though they don't make a ton of money on ticket sales. Most of it's from concessions, which is why you're paying $12 for a Coke. Really, you're just paying $12 for the cup, and then you go out to the machine and fill it with some of the syrup yourself. You don't even get the luxury of having them fill it for you. That's where the bulk of their money is going, or where it's coming from, I should say. Yeah, here's the hot take from White Adam. The reason there's no more Black Adam movies is because it bombed, because it failed, and because it wasn't very good. It certainly wasn't a film that they could put their hat on. Had James Gunn come in and Saffron, which would have happened, I think that had to have been in talks for years, probably 6 months to a year, maybe longer. These negotiations aren't happening in a week. They would have probably had an option to keep going with Black Adam had it made like $1 billion. Had this been a really big movie, had it knocked it out of the park, there's absolutely no chance in hell James Gunn and Saffron and any of the upper execs at Warner Brothers would have said, yep, we're scorching Black Adam. That's game over. Hell to the no. Dwayne Johnson only has himself to blame and Warner Brothers for putting this shit out in the form that it was in. And that's just that's the cold, that's the gospel truth, really. Okay, that's it for the news. Again, at the end of this, super chat. You can super chat now. I have a list of them. They show up starred on the side. I'll go over them. We can chat further about these news topics. Let's get into the last two things, which are reviews for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Meg via Rotten Tomatoes, everybody's favorite site. Let me take a drink of water quick. You know, a can of Coke, I hate. Can't drink it. Straight can of Coke is disgusting. You put this bad boy on the rocks, you throw in a cherry, maybe some grenadine. It's like my favorite thing in the world. It really is. It's really the only way I can achieve climax anymore. If you watch the Ghostbusters review, the roast, you would get that joke. And if not, I'm sorry for your loss. All right, let's get to it. Gross. Look at this giant fucking ad. Rotten Tomatoes, you suck. Okay, we have a 96% tomato meter for this boy and 94% from the audience. So these critics, they're in line. And you know what? Old Adam Bear, I can actually add a review myself as a certified Rotten Tomatoes critic. Isn't this fun? Hey, this is actually really fun, you guys. Please tell me what other movie critic out there is giving you backstage access. I don't even know if I am legally supposed to be able to do this. If this might be sacrilege by the Rotten Tomato gods right now, but I am giving you a peek inside how you, as a certified critic, gets to add your score to the tomato meter. So look at this. There's just this shitty little link, add reviews, just buried, hidden. This is only for me. It doesn't show up for non-specials. I click on that, beep, 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 and it takes me to a secret area where I can give it either a fresh or a rotten. It's just that simple. And I love this movie, so I'm going to give it a fresh. I don't do the rating stuff. That's optional. I can do a pull quote. Oh, I have to do this on the fly. The heroes in a half shell are back, baby. Certified Rotten Tomatoes critic. There's just no quality control. The heroes in a half shell are back, baby. These turtles sound great, they look great, and they still love great pizza. Well, maybe not, because it's always Pizza Hut, but still, the movie is turtle-rific, turtle-tastic, tubular, radical, bodacious, gnarly, cowabunga, lacious. We'll just say the movie is pure, uncut, turtle power. Oh, fuck yeah. Okay. The heroes in a half shell are back, baby. These turtles sound great. They look great, and they still love great pizza. Well, maybe not because... well, maybe not. Well, maybe not. It's always Pizza Hut. Well, maybe not because it's always Pizza Hut. But still, the movie is pure uncut turtle power. Okay, I'm good with that. All right, let's I have to post the link. So I can't, let me grab the link quick for it. Pizza power, a gun and a half an hour, pizza power. I don't know why. Hang on, I gotta get the link right. I had like a tape cassette. People under like 25 don't know what I'm talking about. I had a tape cassette that had a bunch of Ninja Turtle songs on it. I don't know where I got it from. It might have been from Pizza Hut, honestly. It had all these Ninja Turtle songs, and one of them was called Pizza Power. And the lyric, it was like, Pizza Power, a gun and a half an hour, Pizza Power. I might be butchering the lyrics, but that was the beat, and I liked it a lot. So you're welcome. Okay, we're going to paste the link. Kaboom. This is an English review. Publication, Adam Does Movies, YouTube. And we submit it. And just like that, it's up for people to relish. You can see my previous reviews. Oh, if anybody was wondering, I did put people on pins and needles for a little while on Barbie. I changed my Barbie score 3 times on the website. No, 2 times. I started rotten. And then the very next day, within 24 hours, I switched to fresh because the movie stayed with me and there was enough good moments in it that outweighed the bad. I actually tweeted that out, or I X'd it out, whatever Elon Musk has done to this damn platform on Twitter X. Twitter's dead, whatever you call it. I tweeted out and said, Barbie is the only movie I've ever really struggled to give a fresh or a rotten score before. Because it genuinely is like there's so many high highs and so many really low lows for me that it was a tough balancing act. But at the end of the day, I thought to myself, you know what? I can rewatch the movie pretty much no problem. I'm sure my wife and kids would like it. So, and I think it does. And now it does more right than wrong. So it got a fresh. Oppenheimer fresh. Sound of Freedom. I'm sorry. It was close. The first half of Sound of Freedom, very, very solid, but man, it was too long and it meandered and it got nonsensical and it just lost the plot and couldn't do it. A lot of freshes though recently. Really, really liking stuff. Meg will not be fresh. We can tell you that. Meg is not going to be a fresh one. Okay, I submitted that, which I don't like because, you hit submit. It says review updated. It's not a really good. Everything about this is kind of trash. I'm not going to lie to you. All right, let's get back to the reviews. Turtles. All right, let's see what people had to say about this movie really quick.
It's happening, isn't it?
Oh, I guess we're going to play an ad.
To see the big screen event of the year. IMAX engagements are now extended.
Oh, God. I'm probably going to get copyright flagged for that. Oh, it's good Coke. Okay. We got 162 reviews on this. Let's see what the top critics say. Stephen Thompson, if you've stayed away from TMNT over the years, whether because of Cowabunga or Ninja Rap, or Michael Bay or whatever, don't be afraid to break out your swords, shout something that sounds cool, and leap back into the fray. If you stayed away from TMNT over the years, whether because of Cowabunga, I get the Ninja Rap and Michael Bay, but Cowabunga, why would you stay away because of that? I don't get that. He just had to find a way to throw that in there. Peter Travers, I didn't have much hope for this umpteenth take on the 1980s comic book relic about rowdy teenage sewer rats. But Seth Rogen and his team of merry pranksters have turned this animation version into a giddy goofball delight. Cowabunga, baby. Okay, so he threw a baby in there. We're not alone. We're in good company. The filmmaker, this is Katie Walsh. The filmmakers managed to balance the contemporary feel of the writing and innovative visual style with their own nostalgia for childhood cultural touchstones. Katie Walsh. You stupid person. I picture Katie with like the martini. The filmmakers managed to balance the contemporary feel with the writing innovation, visual style. Okay, Kyle Smith, Kyle Smith, Kyle Smith, Wall Street Journal. Okay, born in the 1980s, they're now the middle-aged Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I that was so lame. I had to move on. And by the way, Saturday Night Live already made that parody. Adam Graham says it's not heady or heady. It's not heady. Heady. It's not heady. I know that word. Or weighty, but there's a little more substance here than in your average Turtles film. Okay. Justin Chang says they lurk, leap, and soar across the neon-streaked New York City that, for all its digital rendering, feels as fresh and handcrafted as a made-to-order Brooklyn pizza. I like that. Okay, a couple negatives. John says, simply being better than past failures does not make something good. While Mutant Mayhem does several things right, from its likable voice cast to its refreshed version of the Turtles' origin story, it also gets stuck in the same gunk as its forebears. All right. I don't actually know what that means. Maya Phillips, there's little complexity to the characters and no surprise to the plot. And even the messaging about tolerance, good intentions, and outsiders finding their brood is so unimaginatively expressed that it feels cliche. I guess. Odie Henderson? The problem is that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have been reduced to dull shadows of their former selves. The personalities described in their theme song are almost non-existent here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines. That's a fact, Jack. Leonardo does lead in this. Donatello does machines. Raphael is cool but rude. Give me a break. Michelangelo is a party dude. I will give them Michelangelo. Raphael is cool but rude. Absolutely. These turtles shine in this film. Voice acting is great. Personalities are through the roof. I thought turtles are awesome. Michelangelo, yes, he is lacking the party dude persona. There is a moment where he finds a skateboard in a pile of rubble. I thought for sure he was going to bust that out and do a little Tony Hawking off of it, but he didn't. And yeah, I would say Michelangelo, out of the four, definitely feels a little bit neutered in this one, but that's what the sequels are for. We'll get him there. We'll get him a Hawaiian shirt. He'll throw some anchovies on a pizza. It's going to be cowabunga all night long. But no, the Turtles have a ton of personality. It shines through. This was a fantastic film. I can't wait to watch it again. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. It does do some things with the villains that I was not expecting, and I'm honestly not sure what they're going to do with them in future installments. So no, it's not really by the numbers stuff. There are some definite twists that I think makes it fresh and different. All right, let's go to the last movie on this list, Meg 2. It sucks. Movie sucks. All right, thanks for watching. It's at 28% on the tomato meter and only 69% audience score. That's a pretty low audience score for anything that's not an A24 film. People were expecting giant sharks causing havoc. They got it, but not in the greatest sense. Let's see what the comments say. I can't put a review in yet because my YouTube review is not up yet. I only have the short up, which I explained I do not like this movie, but let's see what people would say. Fun side note. Someone posted on Twitter, I don't remember the name, or on the X, I'm sorry, on X. He said some bullshit about Rotten Tomatoes critics. He said, and I'm going to paraphrase like crazy, but it was to the effect of, and I can't look it up, and I'll tell you why in a second. He posted a screenshot of the 20-some% that this movie has, Meg 2, and he said, what were movie critics expecting? Like some high art story with top-of-the-line acting? They're so out of touch, blah, 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 bullshit. In which I replied, a good story and good acting, are kind of part of a movie. But like, I was the target audience for this film and it did not work for a myriad of other reasons, in which case he replied back. He said, dude, that's not what I'm saying. You didn't read what I was saying properly. It's about the critics and not about the movie itself. In which I replied, finally, this only went back and forth one time because then he blocked me. And it was like incredibly tame pushback. All I said was, listen, I get what you're going for. Movie critics and on Rotten Tomatoes sometimes come off like they don't understand who the target audience is for the movie, and they're maybe looking for things that's not a priority for a film like Meg 2. But oftentimes the like things that, like, for instance, this guy was criticizing Rotten Tomatoes critics for was looking for some high art, some A24, like layered storyline. I don't think there was a single person on Rotten Tomatoes who criticized Meg 2 for not having a Hamlet's worth of material, for not being some profound thing, but not even having a competent story, not even having characters that seem remotely plausible or that are even that fun outside of maybe one dude, and not having a setup that's schlocky enough to be charmingly dumb or impressive enough to be excitingly like worth watching. Fast and the Furious. Fast 10 is a perfect example. The movie's garbage for all intents and purposes. Script is so bad. The actors, for the most part, really are just kind of like stock cars. They don't have much personality, but the movie understands the audience, so it goes over the top. It goes over the top of over the top. Dams are blowing up. Cars are getting shanked by helicopters. It's ludicrous, and ludicrous is in the movie, so it's double ludicrous. And so a lot of critics will give a movie like that a pass. I didn't even review Fast 10, or I reviewed it. I'm sorry. I didn't like it. I didn't give it a Rotten Tomatoes score because I know that the audience loves this kind of shit. And I have fallen away from that kind of, entertainment. I'm not going to say I won't lie and say that the movie doesn't have entertainment factor, but I needed more than a 2.5 hour loud, noisy pile of shit. Meg 2 doesn't have either of these approaches. It just swims in the middle. It's dumb, but also not very fun. And so what's that leave critics with, right? It's not a good movie. So fuck you. But I didn't say any of that to him. I just said the little bit, but then he blocked me. So that's all that conversation was. Me just pushing back and saying, yeah, you're criticizing critics for things that they're not even criticizing the movie for. Blocked. Okay, let's see what the top ones had to say here. Richard Lawson liked it. Meg 2 is confident in its schlock. I don't think so. Piling on one ridiculous conceit after another at such a pace that the audience can't help but be swept up in it. That is a harder needle to thread than many filmmakers seem to think. It's not enough just to be stupid. Stupid I would have liked. A.A. Dodd says, it makes the original look, well, Jaws by comparison. Ouch. And I don't fully disagree with them. I don't really like Meg 1. I think that also completely misses the mark. But Meg feels way more competently directed and produced than this one. There seems to be at least somewhat of a plot, and character motivations are there. Like, things are kind of in a narrative storytelling fashion. Brian Lowry says Meg 2, The Trench, doesn't overly mess with the formula, but it does muck up the simple strengths of the story with all kinds of unnecessary side plots. In the process, the film goes from Shark Week to Shark Week. Oh God, I love that. Ugh. Jocelyn, there's more Megs, more problems, more ludicrous plot points, more cartoonish villains, and more dialogue cheesier than an over-ripened brie wheel left out on a picnic table. That metaphor got away from me. But also, in the film's saving grace, more Jason Statham. Jason Statham plays a hollowed out husk of Jason Statham. The guy has no personality in this film. He's really just there to kind of breathe and meander from scene to scene. He doesn't have a presence of like a Sylvester Stallone in, say, Daylight, where Stallone can make lighting up a glow stick seem like he's punching a fucking brick wall. Remember the scene I'm talking about in Daylight? There's always a chance. Pulls out the glow stick, snaps it on his arm. We gotta get out of here. He's so good. Statham in the Meg movies is not. I want Jason Statham Transporter. That's the Statham I like. That's the Statham I know. Or Jason Statham Snatch. That guy had some personality. That guy had some smooth style to him. God, I love Snatch. Let's see. Meg 2 often fails on a basic molecular level, sometimes leaving us unclear as to who's doing what to whom on screen. Yeah, there is a good chunk of the trench, and to the Meg's credit, there's no the. It's called the trench. They are in this trench for half of the movie. To the movie's discredit, they're in this trench for half the movie. It's very ugly. They try to brighten things up here and there, but you are 25,000 feet under the sea, 25,000 leagues under the sea. And it's darkness pretty much, and really shitty debris or debris, if you say things dumb like I do sometimes. And occasionally megalodons show up, or eels, or something else, but it's hard to like understand heads or tails of any of it. And there's tails in the movie, so you can see how it's very confusing. Okay, a couple more. The dialogue is truly dire. The heroes say stuff like, "We're a strong group, we can do this." A baddie gloats, "We're making so much money, it ceases to have meaning." Yeah, I didn't care about the dialogue. Like, that's the least of the problems. Meg 2, by design, is a completely anonymous bag of lukewarm McDonald's. It's hard to be mad at it, but only because nothing in it stands out enough to get mad at. Exactly. Robbie Cullen gets it. Robbie Cullen or Colin totally get. Daily Telegraph, UK. Of course, UK. They're just smarter than us Americans. He understands it. It is so mid, as the kids say. It's a mid meal from McDonald's. Okay, so that's the Meg. I'll have my Meg. That's Meg 2, the trench. Not great. Not great at all. And I guess that's the live. Let's do super chats. I'm open for some Q&A for a little while. If people want to fire away some questions, comments, concerns, lay them on me. I'm here. The world is your oyster right now. Whatever you want to ask. Let me get powered up. Full screen. Look at this hair today. It's just completely disheveled. Zoe disheveled. Really. We have a couple that are starred. Just a couple. That's disappointing. We do have a beautiful one from Life is Good, but let's do Johnny's first since he was first. Johnny with a $1.99 super chat says, a lot of showings had empty purchase seats. This is in reference to Sound of Freedom. Well, Sound of Freedom had a pay it forward thing where basically you could purchase tickets for anyone else. And I don't actually know entirely how it worked. I just know that was a big part of their plan. So you could buy like 100 movie tickets and then essentially give them out on Facebook or something. Or someone could say, hey, I want to go to this. And then someone else could buy the ticket for them and send them the stub. I didn't look into it enough to care, but I know that there were a lot of empty seats because of this pay it forward scheme or system or whatever you want to call it. I don't see anything upfront shady about it. I could see how it could be abused and kind of treated as some sort of a celebratory win if the studio was purchasing these tickets themselves with some of the fan funding. That's all speculation. That's Pizzagate nonsense. And I don't do that. I don't get into that stuff. This really is no different, Johnny, than when they said the same thing about Captain Marvel. When Captain Marvel came out and made like $1 billion, there were so many posts and articles saying Disney paid for all the seats, there are empty theaters everywhere, Like, I didn't see any proof at all of that outside of anecdotal evidence, which doesn't hold up in court. So same with Sound of Freedom. At the end of the day, what does it matter? You know, the sales are sales. It looks like profit on paper. It's a success story. Let's move on with our day. There's no way to prove any of this unless, people were scouting all these theater locations and they have camera phones and they're going, oh my God, look at another empty seat, another empty one. It's everywhere. All right, life is good. Thank you, Johnny. Life is good. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Very, very fun. Nice Friday night prize. You keeping a level head and not judging an entire group of people by the actions of one or a few is why I love your channel. I'll watch you shit on terrible movies any day, buddy. Thank you very much. That's awesome to hear. And that is absolutely the name of the game. I don't care what walk of life you come from. I don't care your religious backing. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, a centrist, a socialist, a communist. I don't care for Nazis. You're going to have to walk away if you're a Nazi. As long as you are level-headed, have good intentions, aren't harming other people, let's talk movies. That's what I want to do here. Let's talk movies. That feels fair. That feels honest in a dishonest world. Lindsay, my wife, who's been on here a couple times, actually said that to me just today. We were having a chat. I can't remember the context of it, but basically it was, she has a friend. I'm not going to go into details, but basically the person said has kind of made things up about maybe some successes. And I'm like, and then when approached, he or she said, yeah, everybody does that. Everybody lies to get ahead on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Twitter. It's all just bullshit. Everybody does it to make money, to sucker people to join a program or to subscribe to a channel or to do this or do that. And then I turned to her point blank and said, I don't. And she said to me, and this hurt, this stung, but it's honest. She said, and that's probably why you're not more successful. And she's not wrong. She's not wrong, but it is what it is. At least I can die knowing that I didn't sell out because I wasn't offered enough to. Bubba, 199, Disney's Elemental, I believe is what he's referring to. Disney's Elemental somehow made 400 million. Is that all it made? I think it made more than that. Elemental box office. Let's see what Box Office Mojo says. We can share this if it comes up. Working on it. Why aren't you sharing? Why aren't you Sunny and sharing? Here we go. All right, here we got Elemental. The domestic gross was 147 million, international 250 million, for a total of $397 million and 957,000. Okay, 397,957,306. I don't think that's a win. What was the budget on this? I think the budget of Elemental was almost 200 million. Where does it say the budget? Give me the budget. Elemental budget. 200 million. Oof. Yeah, so 400 million off a $200 million budget is not a success story. However, Disney does work a little bit differently than most because they have merch. They own everything associated with this movie. It's a Pixar film. So all the t-shirt sales, all the merch, all the puzzles and coloring books and games and app purchases related to Elemental goes into Disney's pocket. They find ways outside of just the movie alone. So if they can, break even as far as the initial budget's concerned, the marketing can be made up elsewhere. The marketing price and some of the other accoutrements can be made up in post. Good point, though. Elemental was not a success story. Little Mermaid, I think, barely squeaked by as well. So not great for Disney. Disney's been having a bad run. And I think they're just kind of being outclassed, honestly. There was a time and place when Disney was synonymous with just quality films. The golden era, of course. Little Mermaid, Aladdin, fucking Bambi, and 101 Dalmatians, and they were just shooting out left and right. Great stuff. Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, and somewhere along the way, they just started doing remakes constantly and reboots and the live action rehashes. And people, I think, are getting a little sick of it. We're definitely getting sick of it. And while that's happening, you have DreamWorks, who's over the years freaking stepped up their game. They made the awesome Kung Fu Panda series, the How to Train Your Dragon series. Then you have Sony with their animated studios putting out those Into the Spider-Verse films. Now we got this Ninja Turtles movie coming out. And honestly, obviously Illumination, love them or hate them, they're making bank. They give us simple, stupid movies that the whole family can like. Mario dominating. You have the Lego movies coming out by who the hell makes those? I don't even know. Warner Brothers, I think. So Disney's kind of like the last place winner now. They're kind of the loser as far as these movies. And obviously, Disney losing is still winning, regardless of what most say. They're still making money on most of their shit. And, whatever. But I don't like most of it that's coming out. The Star Wars stuff's garbage. The TV series are almost entirely bad. The movies straight to streaming are fucking embarrassing. Yeah, they need to get back to the quality content we remember them for, slow their roll on all this stuff they're releasing, and just focus on good storytelling without writers. Because the writer strike is going on and the actors strike. Well, which is another reason and a good way to, I guess, end out the night, to really support the show if you can via YouTube Join or on Patreon at patreon.com/AdamDoesMovies. There's a $1 tier. There's a $20 tier. And that $30 membership that you can cancel anytime after a month or two, whatever, will at least lock you in for one roast. So you can choose a movie for me to destroy. And that's really what I want to focus on, because there is going to definitely be downtime on this channel where there's not big movies coming out. So we need to look to the past. We need to Samurai Jack this situation and come up with some good stuff. And I think these roasts are very much worth the time and energy it puts me in to make them. Even if the numbers right now aren't amazing, I think that they average between like 2,000 views to 5,000 or 6,000. They're not putting up great numbers by any means, but they are longer form content. And the engagement on them is phenomenal. It's really great. People are watching these things all the way through. I'm putting in jokes like insane amounts. I'm writing these all down, watching these movies, writing. It's just a back and forth. Snap it, snap it, snap it. So yeah, definitely worth checking out Patreon or YouTube Join. We do have a couple more that just came in. Oh, there he is. Master Sergeant. Almost never disappoints. $20 beautiful super chat. Sup? I think we are at the beginning of an animation revolution in the ways of Spider-Man and Turtles. I totally agree with you. I would not be surprised, maybe this is just wishful thinking, hopeful thinking, that Disney might go back at some point to their 2D roots, even if it means leveraging the hybrid 3D, 2D model of Into the Spider-Verse and the Ninja Turtles, and really going for it. Getting back to that 2D animation style again. They have to do something, because this stuff they're putting out is all looking the same. It's all boring. Even Elemental, which I liked, I didn't love by any means. It was just a good, fine film. I want to be blown away again by these guys. I want Disney to come out and say, this is what we do. This is what, we're not the fucking Walmart here. We're the Target. All right. We're the nicer chain. We're the chain you go in. You're gonna put down a little bit more money, but you're not gonna get shivved in the toilet paper aisle. That's what I want. That's what I want from Disney again. Thank you, Master Sergeant. I appreciate it. And then we got Maddie Camaccio. I say that right? Maddie Camaccio. He's got a Popeye icon. I like that. $4.99 super chat. I don't know if you touched on it yet, but I'll trust whatever James Gunn does when it comes to the direction of DC. Also, big fan of your channel, man. Love it. Thank you, Maddie. I really appreciate that. Let me take a drink quick. Yeah, that's good. James Gunn, yes, I love all of his films. I think I've seen all of them. I always run down the list, but you got Super, which is the weaker of them, but that's kind of an indie project. I didn't see any of his stuff when he was doing the weird crap, you know, like the I don't even know what you call that genre. It's very off the beaten path, very avant-garde kind of stuff. But as far as his more mainstream stuff, like Slither, I really like Slither. I like some of the movies he's written, like Dawn of the Dead, the remake. Obviously, I love Guardians. All three of those movies are really freaking good. I like the Peacemaker series. I thought that was a good first season. And of course, I like the Suicide Squad. Or is it Suicide Squad? Whichever one he did. I like that one. What I like most about Gunn is he just seems to get characters. He makes you care for characters. I mean, I'm welling up watching a raccoon almost die in Guardians 3. That's powerful writing. It really is. The voice acting, the animation, the director's job is to kind of bring it all together. And so hopefully James Gunn can do that on a much grander scale. And he's going to have to with the DC universe, because what it sounds like's going on, and I'm not huge on this idea, but he wants to not only make the movies a shared universe, he wants to bring in the TV shows, specific comic books, video games. It's all going to fall under this umbrella. And that's kind of what the MCU tried to do, and I believe is failing miserably at. Nobody wants to keep up with all that bullshit. We don't have time to watch 7 different freaking MCU shows on Disney Plus. Just give us some movies. Give us 1 or 2 movies a year. I don't even need that many. It used to be an exciting event when a new Marvel movie would come out. But when you have 3 a year, it starts to lose its sheen. The paint starts to come off, right? Get back to the good stuff. Good writing, good characters, good direction. Then it doesn't all feel the same. It doesn't all have the lame Guardian jokes sprinkled through Thor and all these other properties. Keep them separate, but keep them connected. James Gunn has the power to do it. I just don't know if it's enough for one guy to handle. Maybe instead of coming to these grand universes, I almost wish James Gunn would have said, listen, this stuff's all connected, sure. But we're focused on individual projects, one at a time. And then there might be some sort of a connective tissue later. But for now, let's really get these characters working in their specific properties individually. Later down the road, we'll start meshing them together. But for the time being, I want people to at least enjoy one movie without thinking about 4 other movies in tandem. Marvel's coming out with Brie Larson and the gals. You kind of have to have an encyclopedia's worth of knowledge going into this. You need to have watched a couple MCU shows, like 3 or 4 movies. It's stupid. Even my wife just watched Guardians 3. She loves the first 2 Guardians movies. She liked the Christmas special. She's seen Infinity War and Endgame and most of the MCU stuff. But after having a long break and then coming to this movie finally, she was confused why Gamora was there. She's like, wait, Gamora died? And I said, yeah, she died in Endgame. Don't you remember? She's like, no, I don't remember, obviously. And then she said, why is she back then? I'm like, well, it's past Gamora. She's back. And she's like, well, why did the other people die and not come back? I'm like, listen, I don't know. Magic, okay? Stone magic. Who cares? Just watch the damn movie. It's not the same Gamora. And then we fought, and then it was over. So thanks for bringing that up, Maddie. Subscribe. All right, if there's no other super chats, I can power down for the night. I should end with, let me add one more thing here to the stream. I don't think I brought this up before, but if you haven't noticed, every single Monday, and I've been true to my word, I've been putting out a podcast, usually 35 to an hour. depending on how spicy I feel, how comfortable I am talking for that long of a time period without screwing up, which is easier said than done. I try to not have to edit them at all. It's really just me, off the cuff, uncaged, untethered, unedited, unscripted, giving my thoughts about anything from, the writer's strike I want to talk about, the actor's strike coming up. I've talked about movie budgets and how they're way overblown, movie run times. I've like ranked some movies on some of these. Really, it's just a cavalcade of different ideas, movie related, that I want to share and that I feel like I can talk about long form. I know people have been wanting podcasts for a while. I have 14 or 15 episodes on there already. So you can find the Adam Does Movies podcast on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. I'm not actually sure if it's anywhere else. I still probably have to set some stuff up to make it available elsewhere, but no one's really requested like, hey, Adam, I don't see it on Stitcher or Music Box or Earbuds or Microphone Penis or, any of these other streaming services, whatever pops to mind. I don't have them everywhere. I know that. If you don't want to listen to them there, they also come out every Monday on YouTube. I do a watch along, a listen along, really, if I have time. I try to put them live around 11:30, 12, somewhere around lunch, so people on their break can have a sandwich, they can listen to me, and they can almost feel like they're chatting movies with a friend. That's the idea behind it. Oh, we got one more last second from Mike Hunt. $2 super chat. I'm just tired of James Gunn juvenile humor. Juvenile humor. Yeah, Mike, I get that. I've heard that before. I don't disagree. Every director though has their style, right? They all have their approach. Zack Snyder is very much the dark, gritty, over dramatic, everything's very extreme with him. The humor is sometimes there, but it's pretty much just a brooding experience, very melancholy experience through and through. And people were really getting burnt out on that as well. If I'm willing to give James Gunn some credit because the guy can pull back when he wants to. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was, I thought, way more somber of an experience, way more dire. There was definitely humor here and there, but man, I mean, he dropped it like 50% from the previous two entries. I think he can handle Superman the right way without making dick jokes. I'm hopeful that there will not be a single dick joke in the next Superman movie. Let's give him the opportunity, I think. I don't think we have really anything to worry about, I guess is what I'm saying. The DCU has pretty much been in shambles for a while now. Let him take the reins and see where he can go with it. We can always start over again. Warner Brothers seems to have no problem doing that. Thank you for the final super chat, Mike. I'm going to shut her down. Adam Does Movies podcast. Look for the Wonder Woman 84 review and look for the Wonder Woman roast. I still have to watch this movie. It's 2.5 hours long. This is going to be torture. I'm really hopeful that you guys share this roast around. Not seeing a lot of love sharing the Jaws, the Revenge roast, or Ninja Turtles, or even the new one I did. I was thinking, man, one of these is going to blow up. One of these has to blow up. I'm going to make them as funny and as solid as possible. And they just have to get shared and people have to enjoy them, right? I can't see any other way around that. So maybe someday, maybe this is the one. Wonder Woman 1984 roast is coming. The Meg review will be up tomorrow. And there you go. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is always a good time, even if it's not my forte. We're getting better at it. The lives, I think, are getting a lot more solid, a lot more streamlined. And I appreciate everybody who watches, who joins, who super chats. It's a good time. And I will see you on Tuesday for the next live, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. And until then, check out the roast and the review coming up. Take care.